All right, Marco Palmero, founder of Ulysses in Dubai. In this video, I'm going to discuss one of the main issues when it comes to small business acquisitions in the UAE and Middle East. And this issue is data, lack of data, accessibility to data, and quality of data. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, I'm going to share with you some examples, some life experiences that I've been through when I was looking at deals. And what I've identified as a common issue in this region is that when you look at acquisitions and small businesses that you want to buy, data is really an important thing, but sourcing that data is a very complex process that is time consuming. It takes up a lot of resources, money, and time. And so I want to talk with you about the challenges, but also some of the solutions that we have identified for my company Ulysses to better address this particular issue. So back in the day when I first came here, I was struggling a lot in sourcing data about any target that I was looking at. And the problem for me wasn't really that I couldn't access opportunities. It was that the moment I was in a discussion with a potential seller, the accessibility to the data was either incomplete or not present at all. And so I started wondering, well, is it a problem of, the system, or is it something that I'm doing wrong in an interaction? I ultimately realized it was a bit of both. In terms of regulatory environment, there was no reporting obligation, and unless the company was interested in performing some sort of audit, there was no tax returns that people needed to submit, at least at that time. Now things have changed slightly. And so the point was there was no obligation to report certain things that you might need to report in other countries like the United States or European countries. And so people didn't have that type of information readily available, especially in small businesses where management can be a little bit messy. As a consequence, there were information that simply they could not provide to me because they didn't have it, right? In addition to that, my approach towards this interaction was a little bit naive. And so many times I ended up finding that people didn't want to share certain information because it would compromise the deal. And, they were kind of, delusional from my perspective, because that information would come out sooner or later in the deal. They were just hoping I was naive enough to buy a business without asking certain questions. But the moment those questions came out, they knew immediately that that deal was practically dead. Now, you might say, well, why did they do that? Well, they were hoping to get the most out of their business, and they didn't lose anything in doing that. What I did lose was my time and my mental energy. And so I needed to kind of fix that to some extent. And so one of the things that I did immediately was create frameworks of information that I wanted to be sent to our company before we even entertain the idea of discussing with somebody. That really streamlined the process, because if somebody didn't have all the boxes checked, they couldn't even talk to us. So that really, accelerated the process. And yes, it did reduce the amount of leads and deals that were getting, sent to me for evaluation. But what it also did was improving the quality of lead, because most of the leads that were coming through were companies that I could actually look at because they had all the information readily available. So long story short, accessibility to data is a complex topic, and accessing data is much more difficult compared to other parts of the world. People are more resistant to sharing certain data. I think part of that is because of trust issues. The region is very dynamic, and there are a lot of things that are happening on a daily basis. So sometimes people don't want to overshare. And that is another reason why it is more difficult to find good information to make assessments on small business deals. Now, then we jump to the second point, which I mentioned before, that is sometimes the data you access is not necessarily accurate. And I'm going to give you an example for this. I used to be in the United States, Miami, Sarasota, South Florida. And over there, many times when I was looking at deals, if the company sent to me an audit statement done by an accounting firm, that was a reputable accounting firm, I could more or less trust that document implicitly because the accounting firm had a certain reputation to protect and they didn't want to put on paper numbers that weren't plus or minus 5% accurate to the financial performance of the business. Little did I know that that wasn't the case in other parts of the world. When I came to the Middle East, I realized that sometimes audit statements can be completely messed up because audit companies will just receive in-house figures from a company, from a small business, put their own stamp on it, and don't even review the figures. And part of that is because a lot of audit companies just want to reduce their prices and charge people pennies for audit statements. And in order to do that, they need to avoid doing work. Otherwise, they will not be in business anymore. And that, again, is not a very good way of conducting business, but still, it is the way it is, right? So I've learned not to trust documents too much unless I know the person who did the work more than the firm. That is the mental shift that I did when I came to the region. Knowing the person doing the work on an audit statement or on a report is really what made a huge difference for me, because if I know the person and I know how he behaves and how he approaches his work, I know he's going to deliver a document that has certain reliability. And if I see him on the paper, then I know that I see his signature on the paper. That's what I meant. Then I know that the figures are going to be very accurate. I don't trust firm names anymore, not even the big ones, to be frank with you. I've seen so many things happening that made me believe that even documents that have been produced by reputable firms should be cross-checked at all times. And again, it's just my thought, my experience. I think it's pretty valuable because a lot of people struggle with this issue a lot. I think the combination of the two really enables people to conduct a very good due diligence and collect the right data on the business. Because again, the first step is quite easy. The second is a little bit more complex, because understanding that certain pieces of information might not necessarily be what they are is something that you can only get through experience, after being through the process and being fucked in some respects. So I think that is a learning experience that I've gone through and that now provided us with tremendous experience that enables us to filter deals more productively, more efficiently. And so our deal flow system really cuts through the chase, if that makes sense. So in short, data is a problem here. And what is the solution that we came up with? Well, first of all, we identified that the problem was we were relying on third parties to source our data, to build our own deal flow substantially. So the first thing we realized was we need to build our own deal flow pipeline so that we can clearly control the process of sourcing the data. And the moment we get to the bottom of the funnel, we're 100% sure that data is accurate, or at least is within our own parameters. That's when we decided to create our own deal flow system that sources, qualifies, and selects deals for our own acquisition purposes. Lately, we also started providing this service to other companies that clearly understood the power of getting access to good data and quality data, and most importantly, access quality data in a timely fashion. Because businesses that are coming here doing acquisitions, they might have the ability to source good and quality data, but it's going to take them a lot of time, a lot of resources, and a lot of effort. Sometimes people don't have that time. Companies don't have that time that they want to invest in a new region. And so working with somebody like us that already has gone through the steps and has a proven system for sourcing data and deal flow is the way to go, because it streamlines their operation. They can just focus on executing on the deals that are good and then forget about anything else. So this deal flow process that we follow is pretty straightforward. And again, the goal of that is to source deals that are off market, first of all. And second of all, deals that are quality and they have access to information so that people can make an accurate decision. The ultimate objective for us, of course, is to close good deals. But when we work with other companies, is to present them with deals that match their own criteria so that they can then take control of the deal on their own and run it on a one-on-one interaction with the seller. This is tremendously good because we found that many times companies and investors want to have a one-on-one interaction with the seller, so they benefit from getting access to the expertise and knowledge that we built over time. They get the deal flow in, and then they take care of the sale process, of the negotiations one-on-one. So they basically streamline the process that gets them to building the pipeline, and subsequently to that, they are able to execute. And so that's what our deal flow system was able to accomplish for us and other businesses. I think overall, the two main problems we wanted to address with this deal flow service are the data, of course, but also the pipeline, the quantity of deals that we had in our systems. We wanted to have a predictable inflow of leads that were quality and that were suitable for acquisition. This deal flow process solved these two issues very well for us and for other companies too. And by the way, if you want to access our deal flow services for UAE and Middle East, make sure you check the link below. We do take on only a few cases per quarter because we're very focused on what we do. But provided we have a few slots available, we'll be happy to take a look at your case and see how we can help you predictably source and qualify very good off-market deal flow for yourself and your business. So I think that's pretty much it when it comes to data. There are two things that I want to keep in mind every single time when addressing this problem of data quality, data sourcing, and data reliability. Make sure you check the link down below if you're interested in our deal flow services, and I'll see you in the next one.